Hello and welcome to episode 23 of our project Hybrid Bike Build P400 the Hybrid. And today we've got lots of new parts and lots of new tools to make sure we get today's jobs done. So roll the intro and let's get cracking. Oh, where's he gone? Malcolm? Hello? 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 So what have we got? Well, we've got a seal puller. That was quite cheap, 13 quid I think on eBay. So yeah, we've got one of those, fantastic. We can get the seals out with that. We've also got a blowtorch and some gas, of course. And this will be used to heat up the bearings or the housings to get the bearings out. We've also got some punches to make sure that we can try and knock those bearings out nicely, and if not, I bought one of these. Now it's slightly too large, so all I'm going to do is grind the edge of that off and make it small enough to fit down the hole. So it's got a nice edge on there, and that will hopefully get some leverage. And I bought one of those as well, just in case that will help. So we've got those, and also got this. And what is that, I hear you ask? Well, this is the front caliper rebuild kit that I bought for £13 from M&P on eBay. So that's for the front caliper. Now, onto the front caliper. It's been nicely soaked in plus gas. Now this stuff is brilliant. So it's been soaked in there for a week, and I've just put some more in just now. So we're going to try and get that out. Now, a lot of you have made suggestions that we should reconnect all the brakes and push it out with the fluid. So that is what we're going to do today. We're going to reconnect it with the old thingy, but using the new bars because the reservoir is seized, I think, in there. And we're going to push that out with a bit of luck. What else have we got? Well, we have got some gaiters. Now, if you remember, I said that these forks did not originally come with gaiters, so these were on. Now, they weren't fitting properly, so they didn't fit on very well, and this was split to be able to be shoved on the end. So I had to get some that fit perfectly. Now, that is the hard part, because as I said, they don't make them for these forks. 57mm at this end, and I found 57mm, and that fits beautifully over there. However, this is slightly too large for this. I shall demonstrate thusly. There goes the puller. So that goes over there like that. That sits perfectly over there, but that is too loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the end off this and glue it to the inside of this ring, and then it'll slide over perfectly, and then clamp it up with one of these cable ties. So that's what we're going to do first. When I say that's what we're going to do first, I mean we're going to cut the rubber off and glue it inside, not stick it on, because I've got to paint those front forks. So I am using an elastic glue, and it bonds in 5 minutes and cures in 1 hour. So I'm just going to let that dry, and then once that's in there and dry, I am going to hacksaw through the edge, and then we've got our correct size in there. So whilst that is drying on both of them, we're going to move on to something else, namely the wheel bearings.
Hello. You should use super glue on that.
Hello. You're here.
I
thought I'd lost you.
Found a hammer.
Well done.
And a punch.
Is that where you've been? Looking for hammers and punches?
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Right, okay. Yeah, I know I should have used super glue on this, but I was being clever and used elastic rubber glue because super glue tends to melt and I don't want it to melt too much.
That should be fine. Just like
So-
4 spots and then the cable tie around it would have been brilliant.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah. Well, the next one will be quicker, won't it?
Yeah, whatever.
I found some fire. We're going to warm up this hub a bit. And then hopefully the wheel bearing will be easier to knock out.
It'll just fall out.
It might. By the way, with the policeman, I remembered the book today. Still not fucking coming out. There's not enough grippy edge. Someone suggested about pushing these out.
Yeah, with?
I don't think you can press, but I don't think you can because I think the bearing sits against the lip.
It does, it sits against that middle bit.
So you, yeah, and it's against the lip on the hub, so it doesn't go in too far. You can't press it through the aluminium of the wheel.
Okay.
But this isn't coming out at all.
Have you got the book?
Yeah, unfortunately, these wheels aren't in your book.
No, they're not, but...
Well, they're not the same wheels, and therefore they don't go together the same. Because in the manual it says, move the centrepiece out the way. It doesn't move.
I thought it did. Hey!
That one's out.
And so is the centrepiece, so just knock that one through.
Yeah.
Yay!
So there's a circlip in there, that's why it's pressing against the circlip.
Alright, okay. Holy moly!
Excellent. Well, it counts the middle piece should have moved. What? What?
Why is all that jagged in there?
Well, inside?
Yeah.
Because it's just a rough casting inside, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
It's not as though something's broken off then?
No, it would have been cast in, I don't know, sand or something from a mould, and it would have been...
Because by the look of that, it looks like something's snapped off, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it's just a rough edge, whereas they don't clean around inside them.
Okay, can you see what I mean? Look, it's just a rough edge in there. Look.
Mind you don't stick your fingers in there, it might be hot.
Yeah, that's why I'm holding it. That's that bit. Okay.
Alright, so that's
Woohoo!
front wheel.
Congratulations.
Disassembled.
So obviously last time we had an issue with this being screwed in. So how do you intend to unscrew it?
Well, I'm hoping that with a better tool, a punch, we can just tap it round and unscrew it.
Okay.
Last time when I tried a screwdriver it just dug into it, so a punch might be better. It's also peened at the edges, so if I can just clean these peened edges off, it'll allow it to unscrew hopefully.
Okay.
There it goes. You with me?
Yay! It's out.
It's out.
Is it out?
Is it out?
Yay! Success! That's all 4 bearings out.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is...
Get the right tools for the job.
So next comes the replacement, and what we're going to do next is bang in the new bearings. Cup of tea first though. Sorry about next door's dog, it's attacking a piece of grass I think. So even though the bearings that came out are actually pretty damn good.
This one's a little bit crumbly.
that one's not. So it's always good practice to change all the bearings anyway, especially when you're rebuilding a bike. You don't know how long they've been in there. We don't really know the history of the bike. The bike has been sitting for 22 years. These may have been changed since then, but we don't know. So it's always good to change them anyway. So that's what we're doing. So this bearing has a sleeve in it. We have to knock that sleeve out to be able to put it in the new bearing. And there it is. One sleeve for sleeving. So when this came out, a lot of the metal was ground into the threads. So Malcolm's gone round and taken out all the excess metal that was shoved in the threads, cleaned that up, so that should go in quite nicely.
So ordinarily, I would refer to the book, but this wheel and the wheel that should be on the bike is completely different. This one has a different type of centre sleeve, an external oil seal and a screw-in piece, the same as what we've got on our rear wheel. But this one appears to just be a bearing bashed in one side, centre sleeve, hold it central with the spindle and then bash in the bearing the other side. Actually makes it a bit easier, right? But it just goes to show that the book, which I rave about, doesn't always work, especially if you've got parts that are aftermarket. So we've laid out our bearings on the table to see that we can, actually fit them and they're all the same.
These are the fronts,
Yep.
and these are the rears.
Yep. And we should have an oil seal somewhere as well.
Oh, at this point, I'd also like to point out that made a good purchase on eBay
Ah, yeah.
of these exhaust collets. Now, thankfully, managed to get a full set, so they can be replaced
If we need to.
if we need to.
I think it might have been just that stud was the problem.
It's possible, but at least we've got those. So,
Got some spares.
absolutely pleased with that. And they were price-wise, I've forgotten. I'll have a look and find out.
Fair enough.
So we just popped out to get a small tub of grease,
And we got it.
and here it is.
But we also got some grease for the swing arm,
Swing arm grease,
some rag because we're getting mucky,
blue roll,
and some brake fluid.
brake fluid for pumping the brake thingies, and then
Yeah, we got carried away.
got a bit carried away and got a massive toolbox as well.
Keeps things organised.
It does.
But apparently by being messy we're just being creative, and I quite like that.
Yeah. So there you go. It's actually a bargain. It was supposed to be £260, reduced to 110, and that's the bottom bit and the 4 drawers on top. So that, I think, is actually a bargain.
Yeah.
Couldn't really say no.
And it's got wheels, so we can take that bit of wood out down there and wheel it around the place.
We can.
Excellent.
I'm not taking the wood out.
Why?
Because I like wood. I like wood. No. Okay, we need to open this in the traditional way. Yeah.
You said open it in the traditional way.
Hang on,
That's some stuff.
Hang on. Oh, that's enough. Okay, so this is where we're at. You've got to dismantle the entire thing to put it together. This was inside that, but the only way you can get to that is by unscrewing the bottom, taking it off completely, and then lifting it off, and then you've got to take the jaw out to undo the self-tapping screws to be able to... It's a nightmare. Before we crack on with... James, can you just do that later?
Fine.
Jesus. Right, so before we crack on with putting the bearings back in, we're going to come back to these. These are now nicely stuck in there, nice and dry, so I'm just going to hacksaw through, like so. So would you mind holding that, please?
I still think you should use a sharp knife.
Just hold it. You see what's happened there, right?
Yeah, you should have used a sharp knife.
Oh, will you stop being right? Okay, I found a box cutter knife, so I'm just going to slice through.
Without slicing your fingers, hopefully.
Without cutting my fingers off, I'll move my finger to the back. So if it does slice, it goes that way and not slices my finger off.
Yeah. Cut towards your chums, not your plums.
Yeah. Okay.
On the way.
And there we have it. So now we have our spacer. You finished? We have our spacer bit, which will glue in properly actually. And the best thing about it is that because the way I've cut it, it's still got a lip around most of it, so it's it can't fall inside. And there you go. So yes, that's done. Right, next. Okay, bearings.
Bearings.
Right.
So this is the front wheel. These are sealed bearings. They don't require greasing. They're already done. So I'm just going to use a little bit of this grease just to put around the thing in the hub there, around the edge of the bearing, just to help it go in.
Now there's a split pin in there, or not a split pin, a circlip, sorry.
Yeah.
So that will stop it falling in.
Yeah, so that will hammer in, we'll get it down until it hits that circlip, flip it over, pop spindle just in there to hold centre.
Then put the shaft in.
Shaft on, which will give a quick clean. Yeah. So just a little bit of this, and this is actually CV grease, but it's good stuff. You just gently tap it in.
Tap it in.
Making sure that it goes down even. Only tap the outside, never hit the middle because you'll damage the bearing inside. I mean, ideally you'd have a socket or something on there to do it.
So let's do that then.
Have you got one that fits it?
Because I can see that denting the edge there when you're hitting it.
Oh, that's pretty hard.
Stop!
If you've got a socket,
yes,
then I'll use it.
Okay, pause. Should just go to my new drawer arrangement here and pull out the socket set because it won't fit in there. Oh, where's the socket set?
Not in there.
Right in there. Oh, it's on the floor.
The only thing that's not in the toolbox is the toolbox.
Yeah, that was a well worth £100, wasn't it?
The other thing you could do is lay the old bearing on top of it and hit the old bearing.
Okay.
But, you know, if you've got a socket that fits.
I have a large socket. This is a 32mm. See if that fits. 32mm. Perfect. See, told you I had a socket that fits.
That'll do that.
So with the shaft, obviously just give it a clean. It's a bit rusty because it's been in there a long time, unmoved. So just give it a clean, get all the grit and dust off, and dirt, and bits of metal filings and whatever else is in there. And then grease it up again before it goes in. Okay, so now to locate this, obviously there's a big gaping hole in there. This is not the standard wheel, so it's an aftermarket wheel, so it doesn't have the little prongs to hold this in place. So we need to improvise by shoving through the spline that goes through the wheel. Once that's through, so slide that on the shaft like so, and there we go. And that's now located, ready for the other bearing to go over the top.
So on this occasion the socket won't fit over that, so we can't use that to knock it down. So what I've done is I've popped an old bearing on there and we'll knock it down until it's in, and then we can slide that back off again.
Absolutely.
Job done, and then ish stuff.
There we go. So in the meantime we can keep this shaft in there just to make sure that that little spline in the middle isn't going to fall out, because the last thing we want to do is take the bearings out and put them back in again.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can just fish in there with a screwdriver and lift it up. And
right.
It's not too bad.
But there's quite a gap, wasn't there?
It's pretty well wedged in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be fine.
So that's all done.
But we will reassemble just all the bits of speedo drive and stuff. All that does all need a good clean up, so maybe we'll do that first.
Yes. So speedo drive, we're going to clean all this up, re-grease it, and put that back on. Now the thing with these is that when you're buying all these things, it's always good to take it off and make a note of exactly what rubbers you're going to need. Now, I didn't do that, to be fair.
We pretty much ordered everything before we took the bike apart.
I ordered loads of stuff, but obviously then when we take it, we go, oh, there's a rubber in there. Didn't order that one.
Yeah.
Thankfully, like this one, they're actually in pretty good nick.
Yeah, they're not hard or anything, are they?
No, they're not hard. There's no tears in them. They're all well greased up. So I don't think there's going to be a problem, to be fair. Oh. Now, there is a rubber ring on here. The best way to keep this in place is to put a bit of grease on it. And that sits just in this little ledge here, like so.
Oh, it just sits on there.
That just sits on there. Look. Ah, there you go.
That's
Easy.
Convenient.
Yeah.
And that sits on there.
Yep, and then that sits on top.
Right, what is that? Does that bit turn? That doesn't, does it? It should,
No,
no, just
just
pop a little
pull
bit
it
of
in.
grease in there for
Yeah. So it's
sealing and lubrication's sake. Because it is a bit crusty, so it'd be quite nice to stop it from crusting anymore. And molybdenum disulfide grease.
what?
That's what it's called.
Molybdenum disulfide.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh my God, you are so James today.
Yeah, there you go. Look, containing molybdenum disulfide.
Oh my God.
Get me a new name tag.
Huh?
Just get me a new name tag.
What, belly?
James.
Oh.
Right, I'm going to put some grease in this. This.
Right, and there we go. And then this can go back through.
Is there any spacers to go on that? Go all the way home, is it?
The bearings come out.
No, it hasn't.
Ha! That.
Let's give that a wipe off, shall we?
Yeah.
Is there any scuzz on this shaft now? Just give it a little clean.
Give that a little bit of grease in there.
Because once this is on, that's it. It's not coming off again. So.
No. Well, the shaft will come out.
Why?
But
It just goes onto the forks, don't you? Do up the nuts. Once this is on, it's on.
oh right, yeah.
This is done deal.
It's not like the back one, is it?
Nope.
No. Duh.
Not first.
That's clean as well.
Yep. Yeah.
And there we go. Obviously we've got to put the nuts on here as well. But
Yeah.
that is now the front wheel done. There's something missing off here.
Is there?
Yeah.
Brake
Brake disc. Now
Oh,
with
yeah.
the wheels we're going to use, what was that paint you were telling me?
Well, I'm thinking maybe PR15 or POR 15 might be.
And
the
what
one
is
to
that?
use. It's just a really hard wearing, corrosion resistant paint.
Right, okay. Now there's no point spraying these wheels because we're going to polish these rims. And we all know that polishing rims is fantastic because they come up nice and shiny without being chromy. And I don't want to paint them because I do like a polished rim. So, stop smiling. I'm trying to say this seriously now.
I can't help it. It's funny.
Only because you've got gay tendencies. Which is nothing wrong with that, of course. In this modern world we live in, that's all perfectly acceptable and wonderful. So yes, with the wheel, just going to brush over it and get rid of the excess and then just paint over it. There's no point stripping it down and spraying it because it isn't going to be necessary.
No.
And the best thing about this paint is that it fills in any imperfections and smooths
Yeah,
it
it should
quite
be
nicely.
quite smooth and nice.
Yes, so that is the front wheel done. Onto the back wheel.
For now, anyway. Yeah, we can revisit this another day.
So with the rear bearing, we're going to bang this one in first. Now the best thing about this wheel is that it has little knobbles halfway down, so this shaft is nicely located, unlike the front wheel. So it's a little bit easier to fit, he says. So these bearings are 6303 really specials. And again, try and stick it in with the number up, although the number's on both sides of this one.
Yeah.
Not like the last one, which is only on one side.
When you have tapered bearings, they tend to be only on one side.
That's not tapered.
No, I know, but when you have tapered ones,
Oh, okay.
so bear that in mind. If you've got tapered bearings, just make sure you. Well, they only go one way anyway, don't they? Tapered bearings.
Yes. If you put a tapered bearing in the wrong way, then you've done something really, really good.
Yeah.
In a really, really bad way.
Yeah.
And please tell us how you did it
Yeah.
in the comments below.
Oh, there it is.
Hello.
That was my stop there.
Yeah. That went.
It just shot down,
It
didn't
did.
it?
That went. Right, I'm home.
Yeah.
Why is this grease grey, but not grease coloured?
Because it's got stuff in it.
That hydrofluoride ding dong in it.
There's lithium and molybdenum disulfide, yeah.
Have you been practicing that word?
No.
Molybdenum.
Molybdenum disulfide.
Molybdenum disulfide.
Yeah.
Oh God, why? Why do people give stupid names to stupid things? Who came up with that bloody name?
Well, it's some scientist who came up with molybdenum and disulfide.
Was it Molybdenum? Did she do it?
Maybe.
Molybdenum. Well, who's called disulfide? He must be German.
Well, it's two sulfides, isn't it?
It must be German. Disulfide. Di.
It's Welsh. David.
Di. Oh, even though this goes in, it's a bit.
Don't we need some sort of colour in that thing? Does it go in that one?
Please, no, it goes in the bigger one.
Yeah, what was that, the bigger one?
No, it wasn't. That was a smaller one. Don't do that to me.
Let's have a look in the book.
Don't do that to me. It goes in the bigger one.
Okay, it'll go down there easy anyway.
No, think about it. Look at the hole in the bigger one. Look. The hole in the bigger one is massive.
It makes sense.
Unbelievable.
It does make sense.
You gave me a hint of heart attack there. So yes, this bearing rattles in there. That's why the shaft, this goes in like so.
It does go that sort of.
Yeah, and this one is a 6304, really special. Right. Okay, now this
require tapping.
obviously is very, very tight, so it needs tappy tap tap.
Pop it on there.
So we're going to put it on there and give it some gentle persuasion. Yeah, oh my God.
Nice hard surface. Hard surface.
It went in with no problems whatsoever. Stop being such a big poo pants.
I think we on the inside of this. There? I think so. Yeah.
Okay, that's in.
That is that way in. That way around.
So that goes down that way. Bit of grease on there.
Yeah. All around the bearing just to give it a...
Okay, this seems to slide in rather easily.
Yeah, it'll drop down
But
past
then
the
we have
thread.
to hammer that in on top.
Yeah, so what we'll do is use the old bearing again.
So now this was obviously a different bearing to the other one because you can still see the ball bearings in there, whereas the other one's a closed bearing.
Yeah, it's completely sealed on the other new one.
Yeah.
That one's alright. If we take that out, does our shaft disappear? Okay, it moves a little bit, but
Is it?
a little bit of a jostle, it's not an issue.
Okay.
So now we'll put on that screwy stupid bit.
Yeah.
Get this out of the way to do that.
So this just screws back in. That's a very, very fine.
Yeah, let's put some grease in there.
Careful. Well, it does sit and actually screw quite easily because when I screwed it just then, it bit.
Yeah, the third one you unscrewed it from the thing at the very end of the line when we were taking it out. It was alright.
Is what you have to do, just knock an edge out.
Yeah, we'll just hit it. It's like a locking mechanism of sorts.
Okay. As you can see, it's a very fine thread and it's aluminium. It's not brilliant. It's very light. And there's the little notches there that you just knock a little bit out to sort of go into the
hit
thread.
It with a centre punch.
Yeah, and it knocks it into the thread to stop it undoing itself. Sort of like a little lock.
So just give that a little-
Yeah,
Which
and
gives
that
me-
is not coming out. Ever. Okay, so with both front and rear wheel bearings done, it's time to take out and put in the new fork seals. You undo this to fill up with oil. However, we do not have the fork oil because we need a 20 weight fork oil and we haven't got any. So,
We can change the seals.
We can still change the seals?
Yeah.
Okay, according to the Canadian guy on YouTube, we have to undo that and take the spring out.
It just turns.
He didn't know how to say out, so it's out.
Oh.
And then pour the oil out.
It's just turning in the white.
So it's not coming out.
It's not coming in. Which way down the...
Right, so we're going to use the impact wrench to try and snap it open. There you go. Yay!
That worked really well.
It did.
I'm glad I thought that.
It's leaking because there's no PTFE tape
Yeah,
on there.
PTFE tape.
So, yeah.
That off
Okay, fantastic. I'm so glad I bought a compressor and an impact wrench.
me. Yeah. I've got one in my shed as well. They're the most useful thing ever.
Fantastic.
If you can be bothered to set it up and use it. I tend to use a hammer and a spanner and then leave it at that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Right, okay, so
There's a O-ring seal in there's nice.
with that off,
We'll grease that when we get back because they didn't. That's the big spring.
it's still quite oily. Right, okay, the tighter spring piece, that stinks,
Yeah.
like cat pee.
Gear oil.
Right, so that's out. Might want to give it a pump just to get out the rest of it. There you go. What a strange noise. God, that stinks. All you're doing now is pumping out smell. So once all the oil is out, there's an Allen key bolt in there, and that is what keeps the shaft inside. So we just undo that carefully and take out the main shaft, and then we can get to the seal a lot easier.
Oh, good.
I don't know how big this is and how far it's supposed to be going, but it doesn't seem to be doing much.
Can you lift it up? Not really.
Okay, so according to the advice on video, all you need to do is pull, get some pressure, and then undo this, and it undid really easily. But what we were doing didn't seem to make much difference. It's not coming, is it?
I'm just pulling it out of the vise. 1, 2, 3. It's not undoing.
Not, is it? Okay, so we're thinking maybe we did this the wrong way around. So we put the spring back in to give it some pressure, and now we're going to try and pull it and undo that. See if that makes a difference.
I'm hoping there's enough pressure from the spring to create some tension on it.
Right, we're ready?
Yeah.
Mind the oil. Ah, there we go. So that is how you do it.
Yep. Internet man was wrong. Don't follow everyone's advice on YouTube's.
No.
That goes for us as well.
Yeah.
Not taking the seal out.
No, but it's a lot easier to get the seal out now that's out of the way.
Yeah.
We think we may have found a crack here. That's a little bit worrying.
Get the seal out and then we can show it.
Yeah. Hello.
There it goes.
It was that bit as well.
No, it's still in there.
No, it's not. It's there. Look.
You couldn't see that.
It's solid.
Yeah, that bit is.
Yeah, that's the bit I said, and you said
Oh,
no.
I thought you smelled that.
No. Why would that?
Oh.
So here we have the new fork seals. This is what we're concerned about. Can you see the crack on there?
Yeah. It's on the bit that's now got a light shining on it. There's a crack through the middle of it.
Through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it runs from down here all the way around the bottom of that, and then all the way up there to there.
Mm.
Has it got a lip on it?
There is in certain places, yeah.
I can't feel a lip
If you
there.
go-
Can't
if you
feel a lip
do-
there. Can't feel a lip there.
Go the other way.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah. Now you've got a lip.
Yeah.
It's definitely a crack, isn't it?
It's a hairline crack.
I think we might have to find a replacement fork. Or
Bollocks.
at least a fork bottom bit.
Right then, caliper then. Right, so on to the caliper. Now, a lot of people, like I said before, have suggested about connecting it up and pushing it out that way. So that's what we're going to do. We're not even going to bother to try and do the air thing. We're just going to do this to start with. .4 brake fluid, of course, is just standard. So we need to stick it on a handlebar just to make sure that we've got some grip, otherwise we can't sort of push it against anything.
Yeah,
Here we go. Right.
Just like 3/4.
It's more than 3/4. So first of all we have to bleed the system like we said. It involves nipples and things.
Yeah.
Okay, so this thing seems to be pointless actually.
It's just a brake light, so we don't need any.
We're not going to need it next time, so we'll take that off. We just put the hose direct through to the caliper. It took a long time to pump it through, so we pumped it through and it's now gone solid and then splattered.
Yeah, it popped, didn't it? There must have been something in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just do it in the proper way. So if you want to pump it up and hold it on.
Alright, it's going weak again now.
Yeah, hold it on. Sorry again. Bloody thing.
It's building up. Yeah, there we go, that's it. That's it, we've got proper pressure now.
Alright, just hold it on.
Full pressure. Alright, released. It released.
Okay. Pump it up and hold it on.
It's pushing all the way through, look. Like there's a leak somewhere. Look, it's not going solid. It goes to there, it goes tight, and then I can push it the rest of the way. Tell you what though, it's come out.
Oh, that's where the pressure's going. Yeah, that's just pushing that out.
Yeah.
Right, so don't pull it again, hold it there.
Yeah. And there it comes. Oh, it's bleeding again, it's gone all the way down.
Has he run out of fluid?
No. That's it, hold it at my face, good idea.
Yeah, that's what I was planning.
There you go.
Right, don't pump it anymore.
No.
So that's the pad out.
At least the caliper is not seized, and all we can do is replace all the rings and the rubbers, and which I bought a kit for. Okay, so just to get the piston out, we'll just keep pumping. Make sure this is topped up because that runs out quite easily. And then just keep pumping, and the piston will eventually come out. There it goes.
It's going, yeah.
It'll pop out and the fluid will come flopping out afterwards.
Yeah, that's right.
Here it comes.
There we go, we've got...
Ah!
Oh, I've only run out. It's squirting back at you. Don't need much, we're nearly there.
Uses quite a lot though, doesn't it?
Well, oh, hang on, we're there.
Oh, what a waste. Hang on, let me just pump it out.
It's interesting that the piston is just a piston and the seal is in the ball by the looks of it.
Yeah.
But that is super crusty. I've only got all the scuzz on that.
Yeah. But it's okay to go back in.
Oh yeah, it's clean. We'll clean that up with a bit of rag.
Yeah,
So
it doesn't need replacing. That's a good thing. So yeah, look at all that gunk around there. Look. See all that? All that goop and gunk? That's horrible. Ugh. Lovely.
That's our seizing problem.
Yeah.
So an interesting fact, in case you didn't know, the reason for the use of copper washers on these brake unions, and you'll find them on sump plugs on cars and bikes and stuff, is that copper is a soft metal. So when you sandwich it between two surfaces, it squishes and creates like a good seal. But the downside of that is that it work hardens. So if you hit copper or squash it or whatever, it becomes more brittle, and therefore if you try and reuse it, it won't always seal. So two options with that. One, you can either replace the seal or the washer for another one, or if you've got a blowtorch, you can heat it up, put it on another bit of metal or a brick or something, heat it right up and watch it, and you'll see it on the surface become almost look like liquid, even though it's not. And that's called annealing, and that makes it go soft again, so you can reuse it. But it's easier just to replace it, right?
Okay, so now it's time to rebuild the caliper. We've gone round the inside of this caliper housing with some emery cloth and taken out the rubber seal, and that's what this one does. This now goes in and replaces that. So we've got the rubber seal to go in there, the piston which is all nicely cleaned and polished, and that will sit in there like so, and then we've got all the rubbers and the copper rings and a nipple cover to go back in, brake pads and a new split pin as well. So it's time to rebuild.
And on reassembly, where we put the pads in, we're not going to use copper grease.
No, we're going to use the aluminium style stuff.
Yeah, because copper does actually react with aluminium.
Yes.
So you could end up with problems. So in the little bore where the pad's going to be sliding in and out, we're going to use a little bit of that aluminium grease stuff.
And that's what we used on the spark plugs on the Mustang.
Yes.
Because obviously that's an aluminium head.
Yeah. It's just pretty much the reversal of taking it apart, isn't it? So copper washer and steel washer for this union that goes in here. They are them two, I believe. I'm only going to nip this on here. I'm not going to go super tight because later on we need to paint this, so it'd be good to get that out of the way. And that'll be that. So that's in. Grease the bleed nipple. Bleed nipple straight in the bleed nipple hole. We've just cleaned that up. That's all it requires. We have a new cap for that. So I'm just going to nip that up. It doesn't need to be tight. There's our cap. Is that it?
Let's see what we do.
Maybe I'll just push that down a bit. That's better.
Okay.
Lovely.
So that now goes inside. Now this is the tricky bit.
Yeah, now do we put a tiny bit of, let's put a tiny bit of brake fluid or something on that to lube it.
Now this is the nickel paste that we're talking about instead of copper grease. So this is awkward to get off. I'll just throw it on the floor. That often helps to release the pressure on the end of the can.
Top tip, if you ever get a broken nut of a thing or a stud at the head of a bolt or whatever stuck in a socket, just take the socket off the ratchet and throw it on the floor, and that'll break free the thing if it's jammed in the socket.
The thing is, the problem is now I've dropped it, it's dented it, so it can't come off.
Great.
What a bell end.
So I've lubed it up with a bit of brake fluid. I'm popping it in its groove. And of course the last bit is just twisted a little bit, so I need to just carefully, with a clean screwdriver, just give it a little jiggle, that's it.
So you're not putting this on that?
No, because it's got to go through the seal. So.
Right, okay.
A little bit of brake fluid just around the...
So with the piston in, the pads can now go back in. This is where we need this stuff.
Remember this little washer thing.
So this, just on the back here.
More importantly is around the sides,
yeah,
where it's going to be in contact with this housing. We could probably put some in here to be fair. Let's do that.
Obviously not on the pad itself.
No. That would be folly.
Like so. Ta-da!
Beautiful.
Marvellous. And then with this one, it's straightforward. Again, same again, put some around the sides, around the back there, and then just slot it in and put the pin in. So that's what we'll do now. And that goes like so. And a split pin. Split pin's come out.
That's right, it's still in the oven.
Yeah. Okay, and there we go. That's a caliper rebuilt. So that brings us to the end of this video. We've had a pretty successful day, I think. We've got the wheel bearings done. We've got the brake caliper sorted out and rebuilt.
Thank you for your advice on that one.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the fork seals completed because we found that crack in the forks. So there's just no point replacing the seals if it does have a crack. So I shall get online and see if I can get myself a set of new forks, or at least one. I'll just get a set.
Yeah,
I'll get a set, and then we'll rebuild those and paint them. Now, in the next episode, we're hoping to get the powder-coated stuff back.
Yeah.
Can't guarantee it, but that's what we're hoping to do. And as you remember, we were planning on this episode being the Mustang haul parts. That is coming very soon. Unfortunately, because there's loads of parts coming from America, they've been held up in customs. But they're on their way. So that's coming in the next not the next episode, but the episode after, hopefully.
Yeah.
All being well. In the next episode on the bike, we shall be stripping the engine down and replacing parts and rebuilding parts on that. And that includes that sump case with a crack in it.
Yeah, we need to check that's been welded.
Yes, if not, we shall go and get it welded.
Yeah.
However, until next time, thank you
Please,
for joining us.
hang on, stop. Whoa. Don't forget, you've still got a few days if you're planning on entering
Just going to say that.
a logo type thing for us. How long have we got for that? A few days?
The end of August, so till the end of next week.
Yes.
And then we'll be announcing the winner on that. And we're very close now to 10,000 subscribers, so once you get that up there, we will get our giveaway going.
Yes.
And we've got the prizes already set up for those, so fingers crossed. They are brilliant prizes.
Yeah, I hope people will be pleased.
Fingers crossed we'll get to 10,000 subscribers very soon, and then we can get that underway. So until next time, please ride and drive carefully.
But have fun.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.